All right, we're live. Dr. Kennard here, Grand Farmer, Glenn, the International Man of Mystery, and John, and the ever incredible, wonderful John Hudson. Hope you're all doing this morning.
Yeah, I'm good.
Good.
Yeah, I got, like I said on the show, I got my second vaccine on Monday. I was lucky enough to get the Pfizer again because what they were doing is the actual the pharmacies were doing AstraZeneca, and then the government run vaccination sites were doing either Pfizer or Moderna. I got Pfizer the first time. My girlfriend got Pfizer the first time. She got Moderna the second time, which is those two combined are pretty good. But I was lucky enough to get the Pfizer. She had major pain the day after. I just had was really lethargic on the Sunday when I got it, and yesterday. Besides that, I'm fine, which is good. Like I said, besides the tail end, Bill Gates. Some guy said some black horror was following Bill Gates. I feel special. Bill Gates is following me personally.
That's pretty special, dude. You know, yeah. And I have a list of some antipsychotic medication that might help you out. Very effective, you know.
Yeah. I'm gonna put you on mute because I'm eating and listening to you guys at the same time.
Okay, cool. How you doing, Dave? See, I'm talking to Dave even when I know that he's on mute.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you now.
All right. Yeah. No, things are well. I just went out to the garden and no bunnies are eating the food that I want. So.
Oh, okay. I just want to mention to David Paul, because I see it says that devices are not connected, David Paul. I don't think I can get you into you will need to connect your mic cam before you can add them to the stream. So you have to connect your mic and your cam, David Paul, to get onto the stream. So I just want to let you know that. But so you're still waging your defensive war against the rabbits? Dave?
Well, I mean, I did relocate a bunch of the strawberry plants, like the most robust ones, but I left a bunch behind. So if they manage their garden carefully, they will have strawberries as well.
Okay, so I see that the lesser strawberries are the rearguard action to this military-style pullout that you have. They're the ones that are going to be left to the rabbits, to their own devices, and then you got the cream of the crop.
Well, I mean, it's not like I won't attend to them should they need something, and I do water them and that sort of thing. But I mean, if they eat all the leaves off them, they won't grow any berries. If they eat the berries off them before they're ripe, they're going to get a bunch of unripe berries. But if they wait until they're nice and red, they can enjoy some fruit.
So predictions here, right? Predictions on Tobin here. All right. Hey, Tobin. How you doing?
Good morning.
Good morning, sir. Good morning. I like it when there's a lot of people on, so I don't have to make sounds with my mouth. That's why I like it.
What it sounds like Dave's doing is he's trying to train the rabbits to do his gardening for him now.
Well, yes. That would be ideal.
Right.
And that story with the cat that had the mad jumps and that could grab the birds, I got a story that pertains to that similar. I had a mama cat, and we had a tree out in our front yard. It was a magnolia tree, and she would go and sit underneath it, and the blue jays would come down and peck her on the head. And you see this happen like multiple times. In one sitting, the cat would sit down, and she would get hit in the head like 4 or 5 times. But if you sat there long enough, she would wait and she would just grab the bird right as it would come down to hit her in the head. She would just pull it right down, and then she would have her meal. It was wild.
The old bait and switch.
Indeed.
I used to live with a woman who had 2 cats, and the bigger, slower running cat had the fastest paws you've ever seen. Her front paws were freaking lightning. and she would come in with a mayfly, a bird, a mole, like one of those little voles out of the yard, and those little tiny quick birds. Like she'd just sit there in the yard, and when they buzzed by just close enough, bam, she'd get them every time. She was just a brutal hunter, like what you were saying about when a domestic cat gets released into an environment, what they can do to birds. This was a typical and perfect example of it. This cat was not fast at all, except for her paws. Yeah.
My English Bull Terrier chases bird shadows. And it'll run after the shadows. Never ran after a bird, but it tries to catch some shadows.
Interesting.
My 96-pound collie came home with a cat in her mouth one day.
What kind of condition was the cat in?
The cat was reasonably fine. I mean, as soon as I told her to drop it and let it go, she looked at me like I was insane. And so she finally put her head down and opened her mouth, and this cat just gone like a laser beam.
Oh, yeah. I worked with a border collie for a film I did for the 48-hour film project. This must be 15 years ago or so. And it was an older border collie, but oh my fictitious God, how energetic that animal was. Responded to commands, quite well, but just had a ton of energy.
Yeah, this was a standard collie, not a border collie. Border collies are little and tons of energy and good personalities. My dog took down a deer. I hope it was a baby deer. Deer can kick.
That sounds like it's a war crime, Dave. I hope it was a baby deer.
Well, I have to say, out here, I don't know if you're familiar with the West Coast at all. Maybe Glenn is. But we have these islands. We have Pender Island, Saturna Island, Main Island. They're all little islands between Vancouver Island and the mainland. And in years past, predators have chased deer into the water, and they have somehow ended up on these islands, the inner islands. But there's not enough food or space for them to grow very big. So now we have miniature deer. Yes. They're the cutest thing. But I could totally see like a German Shepherd easily overtaking one of these deer.
Yes, there is a principle of animals getting smaller and smaller on islands. That was one of the reasons why the myth of the Cyclops might have been created, is because if you've ever seen an elephant skull, there is this large opening in the middle of the skull. And people could have thought, hey, one-eyed Cyclops. Because there were, elephants on small islands in the Aegean or in the Mediterranean. So that's one of the theories.
Or it could have been a really big dude with an eye patch.
Could have been. Girlfriend says it was a full-sized white-tailed deer.
Jeez. That's a hell of a dog.
All right. Just to let you know, I know I said I'd send it to you like about 3 weeks ago, but that YouTube special on the residential schools that I told you about a long time ago, I put the link in the chat. It was an Al Jazeera thing on residential schools, and a lot of them like that came out of it. They go back to it, and it's really graphic and kind of really informative.
I feel like I'll be informed and angered at the same time.
Yeah. I think it's quite long, actually, if I remember correctly. I think it's like about 45. I can't remember how long it was, but yeah, it's a decently long video, and it's very graphic.
I mean, Glenn, did you put it in the regular everyday chat for everyone to see? Because I don't see it anywhere.
I just put it in like at the bottom where it says mic, cam mic, and then chat. I just put it link right in there.
Okay.
It should
private
be
chat just for people in the stream.
I think so. Yeah, it should be in there.
It's in the private.
Did you see it? You see it, or
I see it. Dude.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Cool. Yeah. It was. I remember watching it, and it's very informative, and like I say, we've all said each country has their dark side, and that among other things is one of Canada's. So yeah.
So I just threw the
And-
link to the regular chat for everyone to see it. It's the what Glenn was talking about, or what is talking about. Yeah.
Yeah. Something, if you don't mind me veering off what you guys are talking, something related. I don't know if you guys have been hearing the stories in the aftermath of the England-Italy game about the racism that the 3 players that missed the penalties for England have been putting up with.
I heard about that actually.
Yeah,
I did hear about that. For those of you who didn't see the penalty shots in that game,
you know, it was depressing enough for me because I'm English, you know. But on top of that, like you know, the self-sanctimonious bullshit from Boris Johnson and Priti Patel, who personally I don't understand how you can be so racist and be, you know, she with a name like that. You know, she sounds like she's from like her originality is, you know, and you can see her originality is from like you know, India or somewhere like that. But then to say that she doesn't support them taking a knee, but then after saying, "Oh, this racism is wrong," well, you've been festering it for a year now, so shut up, you know. And it's disgusting. And you know, they if you don't know, one of the guys that missed him, Marcus Rashford, he was one of the when during the lockdown, when they had the lockdown and the season was stopped, the government you know refused to actually give money. He raised, I think, over £2 or £3 million for kids' school lunches because the government refused to fund enough for poor people. So, you know, he was the guy's in my mind a national hero. Forget the fact he plays for team I support, but the guy is a national hero. And he had a mural, and it was defaced, I think, with some sort of disgusting language, right? And it's just. It's, you know, it's wrong, and you know, it just annoys me because I know that the majority of the fans that support that team are not like that, but it just disgusts me, you know.
Yeah. I saw a mural of his that had been defaced with racist language, and it had been papered over, basically.
Yeah, there was a lot of like right around. I saw it today. A lot of people put like posters saying how much they support him, just to kind of counteract the. You know, I call them knuckle draggers because really that's what they are. They are knuckle dragging. They people that honestly belong, God, hundreds of years ago. You know, they don't even belong in society, frankly.
Yeah.
And some of them are gonna. In England, I don't know about what you in the US, but you say stuff like you do stuff like that, you can get arrested for just online, like you can get arrested for stuff like that.
Yeah.
And what they also do is they have bans where if you found out that you stuff, you're not allowed to go to, let alone go to a match at your own team. They don't allow you to go to any matches at any stadium in the country, including going. You're not allowed to travel if you're found to do that. You're not allowed to even you have to turn your passport in when there's a tournament going around in other parts of the world. They will not let you travel to go see a game overseas.
It is the hard cost of soccer hooliganism, of racist soccer hooliganism. The second time I was in England, I was on tour. I was touring with. I was just taking a trip, basically like a month-long trip with my then fiance, future wife, future ex-wife, and my buddy, my hide the body buddy. So it's just the three of us. We were on this bus. We were traveling around, and apparently we'd gotten on the wrong bus because there was a big football game, big soccer game going on, and there was one guy who just drank on the bus and drank and ran his fucking mouth.
Oh, that's you see, what they did is years ago they had in the 80s, 70s, and 80s, they had a major hooliganism problem in the UK. A lot of it, like because what they call the firms or the factions of the each club pretty much had their what they call the firm, which was a hooliganism gang, and they would storm the pitches and do it. But what they basically did was that they either banned the players from the firms from the ground, or they just didn't allow them. So basically, they pushed it out. You know, there's still hooliganism. You just don't see it because it's not in the grounds. You know, you it's, for instance, when I've been being a Manchester United supporter, I've gone into Liverpool, which is their arch rival, but not to see Liverpool, see Everton, and you're pretty much dropped off right outside, like right in the enclosure, and you go into, because there's segregated fans in all stadiums now, because you just can't not. It's too dangerous not to, because it still can get bad.
So you're
even
telling
now.
me that in stadiums in England, there is the fans are in separate areas for their own safety.
They have an away section and a home section. Away section, depending on what competition you're in, is a percentage. I think in league games, I think it's 10% or something. And because where I used to go, when Manchester United play Old Trafford, there's a corner, like right by one of the corner flags, which goes up, and they have that section. Now, when you play in cup competitions, they get the whole upper level as well. But you're not, it's segregated, and it's, a lot of games you could sit a fan in, and there's going to be no issues. Unless there's a little bit of alcohol flowing and some guy starts chirping off. But most of the time, like 99% of the games, you don't need segregation, but it's just for everyone's sake, safety, because one guy gets drunk. And I've seen this at baseball games or football matches in the US and Canada. You turn around, one idiot drunk guy says something, and the other idiot drunk guy punches him, and then you have issues. This just pretty much stops that, because even though the fans, the next fans are in the section over, there is stewards, right, like all the way down.
It's really the big reason why I don't even like watching sports anymore, or like dealing with it. It is the fucking people who are taking it too damn seriously. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, I love Manchester United. I was a season ticket holder there. I have. For me, they're three teams that we refer to as scum, because they're our biggest rival, and that's Liverpool, Man City, and Leeds. We don't get along, but I would never, unless some guy punched me, then I would defend myself. But I would never go out of my way to start a fight over what I consider the game I love.
Yeah,
and there's some detestable things said on, but Manchester United fans are just as bad. Like the Liverpool fans bring up the plane crash that killed 9 of our guys in '58, and unfortunately, the scum part of our fan base bring up the Hillsborough disaster, which is where before they had seating, where it was just standing. Too many Liverpool fans crowded into one area, and 96 fans were crushed to death.
I just want to make sure that I understand what you're saying. Is that so? There is an away section, and a home section, and there are guards, or not guards, but stewards. Basically separating the two groups. Yeah,
like if you ever just take if I can find it, I'll show you. I'll share a picture in the next, like either now or a little bit late in another chat. You'll see like. They're all wearing like fluorescent yellow like jackets or vests, and you can see them like on both sides, like cornering off the away fans. And it's just honestly, like everyone says, it's most of the time to just it's more, it's like I said, 99% of the time it's not needed, but there are times where it is needed, because there are people that unfortunately go to games and their aim is to just cause trouble. And I think it's not just a European thing. It happens. It happens in North America as well. But I love the game, and when I see some of the underbelly or the disgusting parts of it, it just detests me. I detest it. It was like when the Bruins were facing the Leafs, and right after you had that phrase "Boston Strong," and some idiot Maple Leaf fan did a hashtag Toronto Stronger, and I'm going, and Boston fans were rightfully, like Bostonians were rightly pissed, because that's something, it was a terrorist attack, and pretty much every other Toronto Maple Leaf fan said, this guy does not represent us, he's a effing moron, but it's taking pain and making fun of it and using sport as an excuse, and it's just disgusting.
No, that's what it is. I have to ask Tobin how his floor is doing. The last time I think we were talking about how your clay floor project is working out. Tobin, how's that working? Oh, you're on mute, brother.
I'm waxing parts of it that are like really fucking dry, and it's still there. It's right by my front door. The patch is getting smaller and smaller. It's just like shrinking, like, and hardening. Only a little more time, and then I can get serious about waxing it. I'm gonna wax that floor. Oh my goodness.
Wax on, wax off.
I'm gonna shine it.
You know,
Wax on, wax off.
we got to throw a party for you, Tobin, when you're done with this. When you're done with it, because it seems like it's been a labor of love for you.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what we'll call it, Andy. That's what we'll call it, a labor of love. So I'm in negotiations right now with a potential job, and so they offered me all these potential hours, and I'm like, so you're basically, and I don't know about anyone here in the chat or you guys, but when someone offers you a really super good deal, you say to yourself, I wonder what's wrong with that deal. I wonder what the gingerbread house is, or what's inside the candy house. Because they're offering me basically my pick of hours, and I'm highly skeptical.
Well, I felt the same way. I was, well, not job wise, but I'm always looking at, because since I was 10 years old, I wanted to own a 911. Like the dream, and I'm always looking at used ones. And there was one that was 10 grand under what all the other ones were going. I'm going, yeah, what's wrong with it? Like there's something wrong with it. If either you're in dire financial trouble, in which case, yeah, I'll take it off your hand, or two, you're saying everything's fine, but there's something really wrong with it. So yeah, when something's too good to be true, I've learned from past times getting screwed over that it's probably too good to be true, but hopefully it isn't for you.
Right. Yeah, let's hope so. Hey, 420 atheist.
G'day, folks.
Good day.
Is it good night for you?
You laugh every single time I say g'day, Andy.
I think it's freaking hilarious, and I don't know why. I don't know why, man.
I'm just saying hello.
I know. I just think it's hilarious. Very cool. Very deadpan.
It's funny you mentioned that, because I was thinking earlier, I really only experience two emotions, and that's anger or rage and horniness.
Some of them all at once?
Usually both at the same time, yeah.
I think you just described maybe 90% of the men in the world, Sam.
Actually, you're right, Andy. So it wasn't that great an epiphany after all.
Yeah.
So, Andy, this tempered enthusiasm with this job, is this a job that you'll be going to today, this week, in the future, or have you not hammered out?
I haven't hammered out yet. We are in. They just gave me my potential pick of hours, and I said, "Well, this is my dream schedule, to tell you the truth."
But they're
and is this the second job, Andy?
This is actually a human service job that I just followed up on the other day. I haven't even talked about it here because I'm still in that awkward stage of trying to cobble my schedule together. Because when you're the urban underclass like myself, and you don't look like the urban underclass, Andy Hall. No, of course not. But I need to have money coming in, and typically because of the low wage jobs I do, I need several of those jobs, or at least two. So I'm trying to figure out how to stack shifts together so that I can crank out, let's say, a 40-hour work week in only 3 days. That's a dream. And I've been able to do that before. So it's like I said, I'm just trying to make things fit properly with this. And this new job, potential job, has a possibility of doing that. Yeah.
So a 40-hour work week in 3 days. Are you overlapping these hours? Do these people know you're not there and you're working somewhere else?
Well, part of that, Sammy. I didn't see the bag that you were rubbing your face with.
Gently caressing? They're pineapple lumps.
Oh,
Yeah.
pineapple lumps. I don't think I've ever experienced pineapple lumps before. I'm not going to lie to you.
They're exquisite.
Oh my goodness, that's so. Like I haven't had that specific brand, but I go after some pineapple.
Yeah, how good are they?
Dude,
Sorry, you were saying 40-hour work weeks in 3 days. Work 2 restaurant jobs. It's very easy.
Right, exactly. So human service jobs are like that, and especially since a few of those shifts would be sleep overnight shifts. So I would be able to work from 4 p.m. until, let's say, 8 a.m. in the morning.
What do they call those, respite shifts or something like that, or is that something else?
They are that is something else, I believe. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. For here, it's just a sleep overnight shifts. They are super rare to find, and so but they do help quite a bit.
So does it with those jobs, you're more or less on call, being at the place, because you can sleep and you're allowed to sleep if there's nothing happening, pretty much, right?
Exactly. And then when something is happening, yeah, I speak words. Then you're on, and then you're on till who knows, until whenever the emergency is over.
Yeah.
So over here at respite's more the situation. So it will often be a participant needing a break from their family, or a family needing a break from the participant.
Yeah.
Or yes, long or short term sort of break.
Yeah.
But the shifts themselves, and then there's sort of permanent residents as well. But the shifts will either be a sleepover shift where you actually go to sleep as a staff, you just need to be on site, or an active shift. And it sounds like you're doing active shifts.
Well, it would be the 4 to 12 would be, I would be awake, and I would be involved in doing the evening routines, afternoon evening routines, activities and the such, dinner. And then the 12, let's say typically from 12 in the morning to like 6 in the morning, I would be asleep. And then I'd be up for the first 2 hours from 6 to 8, passing out medications, getting people ready for the day program, stuff like that.
You wouldn't be sleeping. You'd be writing your Pathos blog.
Well, let me tell you, having a sleep disorder does help me do things.
Just
I look at other channels like the Tang channel. They have like 12 people on that channel, just like cranking up material, and it's like, yeah, I admire that.
They have 12 people, 3 producers, and a graphics guy and a music guy.
Yeah, and I'm just Andy Hall. I'm just Dr. Kennarding it up. That's all I'm doing here.
Sorry, Andy.
Yeah.
Yeah. I know you've said it before, but what's your job involve? Is it addiction, or is it older people, or sorry?
It right now it is my current job. It's with elderly and with people who have disabilities.
Yeah.
So, but I've worked with people who are dual diagnosed, who have, let's say, mental illness and addiction issues, guys who have brain injuries. And this job, it looks like it's going to be with people who have developmental. So they were born with it for all intents and purposes.
Yeah. Well, because my mom was a psychiatric nurse for, I think, 30 odd years. So she dealt with probably a lot of people that the kind of people you dealt with then.
Yeah. Psychiatric nurses, they do great work, especially if they're in lockups, if they're in inpatient units, that is hard work.
I could never do it. I don't know how she separated work from home, because she came home and, well, obviously for legal reasons, she couldn't speak about, like, she could speak vague things. Oh, this happened like today type thing, but she couldn't mention names. I know that for a fact that someone I went to high school with and I played hockey with was one of her patients. And, So I've I know that she couldn't say. She said that that he just said hello type thing, but that's all she could tell me. You know, like she wasn't allowed to tell me things. So, you know, like I said, I don't know how people can just switch off like that.
I
guess
don't
it's
think
the same.
Kendra could handle that job because she comes home and she tells me all about it.
Yeah.
Oh,
And it's crazy because COVID is now it's hit our town. Like there's people who are not able to go to work now because they have gotten it.
Well, we're actually lucky. We're actually because we've
Let me just,
had.
can I put a pin on that for a second? Because I'm intrigued about Tobin and where Tobin is and about COVID, where he is. So she works in a restaurant, right, Tobin?
Yes.
So so a bunch of staff people have been hit with it?
No, but just recently, one of the girls had not been feeling good, and it really, I'm a little bit. The owner did not make the girl go home. She stayed up there for 2 days, not feeling right, and then on day number 3, she called into work, and he told her to go get the test, and she is now tested positive.
Wow. So wow. So she's been pretty much spreading the virus for all intents and purposes for who knows how long.
And most of the people don't have vaccines. I think Kendra may be the only one. It is possible that she is the only one.
Did Kendra get tested?
No.
Yeah. Now, what's happens, because I know that if you have an outbreak at a job in Canada, I think they get shut down, or they have to shut down for some. Is it the same in the US?
It's already happened once where one of the customers had COVID, and it got. I'm sure if this gets out, he's gonna have to have the whole entire restaurant COVID tested. It's already happened once.
Yeah, no, because I know that in Canada, I think it's Dave, you can maybe illuminate as well on this. That if your restaurant, or like for instance, if a Walmart or stuff like that, if there's an outbreak there, they have to shut down for I think 2 days, completely clean, sanitize and clean the place, proper deep clean, and then have everyone who works there tested as well. I don't know what is it like that in Vancouver. I think
I believe it's 3 days.
Yeah.
Everyone who's come in contact with that person has to get a test, which has to, I think they have to get 2 tests. They have to get one right away and one 3 days later.
Yeah.
And the restaurant is closed for those 3 days.
Yeah. We're supposed to, because we're supposed to do contact tracing on every table, because I work in a restaurant, and you have to contact trace every table, like get info on every single table. It's, and we kind of made, like one of the jobs, we kind of make a joke about it. Goes, have you been out of the country in the last 2 days? You feeling fine? All that stuff. And you kind of do it with a smile, and most people are fine. Like, everyone's fine with it, because, we, and also everyone that walks in the restaurant has to have a mask on as well.
I just want you made me think of something then, Glenn. We have had here for a while, businesses have QR codes, so you can just, and most phones, my phone now, if I just open the camera app and point it at the QR code, it will take me to the website. And our government has it's like our DMV, I suppose you'd call it. We call it Roads and Maritime. It takes you there, and they have a COVID check-in where it's as easy as scan, click to check in, and you can add your kids, so your dependents that are with you, and you literally just scan each shop that you go in. On the 12th of this month, where I am, it become mandatory for all businesses to have it. Even the pie shop, where you just walk up to a counter, you don't even go in a shop. There's a sign there, the poor things, please don't abuse us, we're just following the rules, because they wouldn't serve you without checking in, even though you were just getting a pie and you weren't going in anywhere. But I think it's fantastic.
Yeah. Now, is that mandatory for the
writing
people?
Down,
Sorry.
Yeah, the shop. Well, the shop.
No, is it mandatory for you to check in? Oh, okay. So yeah, all right.
No, it's not mandatory for us to check in, but it's mandatory for the shops.
Oh, okay.
So they won't
more
let you
about this
in.
pie shop.
It's in a mall setting.
Yeah.
Oh,
So
all right.
the shop itself exists set back, but the counter's right up to the outside.
You have a lot of
So
you have a lot of
actually-
those. You have a lot of those in England, pie shops, and they're outside, like just the facing, like in the center of town. You don't actually have inside of the restaurant. You just walk up.
This is proper pie shops, Andy.
Yeah.
This is meat pies.
Yeah.
Oh, like they don't have proper pie shops in England?
No, that's all fruity stuff.
No,
Why
it's
is the
meat. It's
meat
meat
one
pies.
proper
With
and not the
veggies.
fruit one? I mean,
No, they have the proper East London
Don't worry.
meat and pie and is always pie and mash. And if you walk in and ask them for gravy, they'll throw you out. They don't do gravy. They do something called it's like a green liquid they call liquor, and it's parsley. Like parsley thing, and you put it on top. And if you like one of them, he goes. It's apparently, like, if you look on YouTube, the oldest or the best East London pie shop. And he actually says, "Don't ever ask me for gravy. I don't have it. I won't make it. You'll never get it off of me."
So can you have like a pocket pie? Like a handheld pie, like a pastry wrapped, all good stuff in it.
We have pizza pockets.
Pizza pockets, as
Glenn, forgive me. It's the damn Americans that have the fruit pies.
Yeah. Well,
That
you see
explains their
what
confusion.
what they call the mince
Damn
pies. The Christmas mince pies, I think, are freaking delicious. And that's all over. That's I think in the UK as well. I think those were actually started in the UK. The mince pies, like the one with the raisins and all that stuff at Christmas time.
Yeah. The fruit mince pie.
Yeah. Yeah. Those. Yeah.
I see the disdain shrugging, looking away, standing. Yeah, the fruit mince pie, not the real pie.
Yeah. If you tell me I'm getting a mince pie and you hand me a fruit mince pie,
well, that's a dessert that you put ice cream on top, warm it up, and put ice cream on top. That's delicious. But yeah, that's just me. My mom makes the same thing with ice cream, actually, for Christmas.
Well, I heard that was really the bone of contention in the Great Mince Pie Riot in 1932.
Yeah, probably.
Fruit pie, what is this?
Yeah. Yeah. So yeah. Do you,
where's the beef?
Where is it?
Yeah. So to go back quickly to you can tell me this, Tobin, and Andy as well. Because we actually have to legally shut a place down if it gets an outbreak. And is it state? I'm assuming state by state. Does, for instance, Massachusetts make people shut the business down if they have a COVID outbreak?
I couldn't tell you. Could not tell you. I'm sure. Well, I know. I can tell you this: is that Somerville and Cambridge, we have had different, more restrictive regulations than, let's say, Boston has. And I can tell you that Boston's had, within its municipality, has had more strict regulations than, let's say, the outlying cities and towns.
Yeah.
So there's of course the state laws, and then there's the municipality laws too, and they one might be more strict than the other.
Yeah. Now, what happens if, for instance, a municipality, being red or blue, decides, I'm going to make this, and their law contradicts state law? Does state law override their law?
Well, yeah, it would be like a nullification, like we were talking before. I mean,
okay.
However, laws are only good as they can be enforced. So you make every single freaking law in the world. If no one's going to enforce it, if there's no teeth in the law, then they're just going to be ignored.
Yeah, because we're actually lucky because we I think in Ontario, I think we're at like 75%, and we're over 65% at least first vaccine Canada wide. And then I was granted you have 10 times the population, but the fact that, unfortunately, I think you're at only 49% vaccinated countrywide, which is scary as hell.
All right,
Yeah.
pop quiz. Does anyone, without Googling it, want to guess? If you know, let the others guess. What percentage of Australians do you think's vaccinated?
I thought there was going to be a pie-related question.
87%.
80.
Okay.
I'm gonna go between. I'm gonna go 90. I'm gonna give you guys some credit. 90 to 91.
And this is, just to clarify, this is fully. So if having 2 doses, they've had both.
Oh,
So
okay.
you're on
Then first, then I'm gonna go 70. Then I'm gonna go 65. I'm saying 90% at least first vaccination.
Okay,
I'll
Dave,
go with
you're-
110%.
I'm going to ask if we get, and I'm going to be really focused on pies here. Do we get a pie for a prize?
If you get within the 10 percentile, you get a pie.
I'm going 65 then.
Okay. Dave, you're muted.
You muted, Dave.
I think it's less than 50% that's been fully vaccinated.
I'm feeling good about my 110% guess.
Okay, you ready?
Yep.
9.
T?
No.
9.
9%.
9%.
9%.
Fully vaccinated.
Yes, I'm more than 100% off.
I am so ashamed.
Wow.
So, okay, Sam. I have
You get
to-
a pie, Grant. Grant gets the pie.
Grant gets a pie. Woo!
Yeah, forget the fact he put the 1 in front of it.
The biggest thing I've learned, Andy, and this might answer your question, is that Australia isn't as forward thinking as I thought we were. That people directly close to me are still fighting having the vaccination because they don't trust it.
Or is it a supply thing? Because I know in Canada, if we had the supply,
We don't have a
we'd be
huge supply,
vaccinated.
but we've got like frontline people not being vaccinated.
Ooh.
But the supply shouldn't be a massive issue because you're only 17 million people or 20 million people, right?
Yeah,
Shouldn't be a major
24.
issue, right?
Oh, we're only 30, 36, 37.
Yeah. Well, it's
No,
like
well,
it's
see, it is an issue though because I don't know what dodgy deals we were doing, but whatever was going on, all these countries that were going to supply us pulled out. All these European countries.
Well, if you were getting your vaccines from the European countries, then that was the issue because, as we've covered on the show before, she plugged for the show, is that there was some negotiations that were just mismanaged between the EU and the manufacturers, and basically the US scooped up a lot of vaccines because we just outbid people.
Geo Sam's in the chat, and he said he's fully vaccinated and hasn't grown his new head yet. I'm hoping for a tail, but I don't get my second vaccination until the 15th. So
my tail's coming in fine after 2 days. My tail's coming in really well.
I would want to have like and this is a geek reference here, a Nightcrawler kind of tail, like the X-Man Nightcrawler, because he could yeah. So Tobin's shaking, he's nodding and said, "You know what I'm talking about, right?" He could like sword fight with that tail.
So
You could use it. Yeah, it was functional.
a
It was
prehensile tail.
I just want to know if he's
I want
picking up in
wings.
the
I want to be able to fly.
What's that, Sammy?
Sorry,
I
Sam.
just want to know if he's picking up. That's all right. On the democratic programming with the 5G that comes with the vaccination.
Well, yeah. I'm getting 5G messages bouncing in on both sides of my head.
Excellent. In stereo, that's what counts.
Yeah.
That's where the magic is.
Not in mono anymore, baby.
Just the left.
So the girlfriend asked you, Sammy, are you fully vaccinated? Have you been able to get the jab?
Yeah, I am. Probably 3 months now.
So dude, I got to ask you, I know that you run a business and you serve people who have disabilities. Is it possible to mandate your employees to get the jab? Well done.
The government made it legal, and I jumped straight on that. I didn't really need to. Thankfully, my staff are pretty decent people, and living it, and my son's immunocompromised, so it was essentially, you know.
I think I've mentioned this before, but one of my other friends is in healthcare, and they weren't legally permitted to say, if you're not vaccinated, you can't work, because of the supply and because of the logistics of getting the jab and the whole thing, right? But the healthcare workers were at the A list, the first list.
Yeah.
But what the companies were able to do is go to all of their clientele and say, do you have a preference for a fully vaccinated, non-vaccinated person coming to do healthcare at your home? And every single person that they do healthcare for replied fully vaccinated. So essentially, anybody who doesn't want to get vaccinated is not going to be able to participate in work.
Good.
Well, wasn't it? It was in Texas where that hospital pretty much suspended all those people who refused to get vaccinated, right? Was it? I remember that story about a month ago, wasn't it? Where these people, health nurses and doctors who refused to, they just said, "Fine, you're just not working here." And as a private company, they have a legal right to.
And that might have been where I stood as well.
Okay, so just
I think possibly in the health sector, it was kind of mandated.
So tell me if I'm wrong on this, everyone, right? So you know how you get dogs to take their medication? You put the pill in the hot dog, right? And then you give the dog. See, you can see where this is going, right? If somehow we can get vaccines into some kind of food stuff, like pies. Maybe I'm still talking about pies right now because I'm kind of hungry. But in pies,
in whatever that shit that you deep fry everything in,
or sweet tea.
It.
That's it. This is my conspiracy.
Yeah, let's put it in the deep fried Mars bar.
That a deep fried Mars bar, sure. I think sweet tea down south would work really nicely.
Do they?
Everybody just basically drinks tea down here.
Yeah.
No, I think you have to go lowest common denominator. If you can get McDonald's on board.
Oh yeah.
I mean, God knows what they're putting in their burgers now. I mean, throw a little 5G in there. Throw a little.
By the way, what we're doing right now, everyone, is networking a joke. You know, we're just kind of like working on a joke right here. We're just kit bashing here, and that's what like tomorrow's post is going to be for the blog. Is about.
I thought it was kind of a dumpster fire, you know, where you sit around the dumpster and you do like the drum circle around the dumpster.
Actually, I made this.
Sorry, maybe that's just a Canadian thing.
Yeah, I made this thing, this kind of semi joke, which honestly, frankly, I wouldn't be opposed to. That all the anti-vaxxers who are also anti-mask, usually, we've got this great. The reason we're only 30 million people is that right in between, we got this great thing called the prairies, which is flat and no one lives in it. We just stick all these anti-vaxxers in the middle of the goddamn prairies, and they don't need to wear masks. They don't need to vaccinate. We'll do food drops for them because you know that they can learn how to make their own food, or we'll just do food drops, and eventually either they'll have herd immunity or they will die off. Yeah. You know, and either way, we won't have to deal with them.
Yeah.
You know.
Some from column A, some from column B, but they'll end up with a small community of.
A small Mad Max-like community. That's what it would devolve.
Well, they're like that now.
but we will have to send some people in to teach them how to walk upright.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
Oh. But we will get some great reality TV from their Thunderdome.
Yes.
Well, this is true. And,
how long before it does take? What's that? The Lord of the Flies, or the kids thing. How long before it devolves into Lord of the Flies? Like a month?
No, it wouldn't even take that long. It wouldn't take that long. No.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah. Like I say,
and
the prairies.
The last
the prairies
one takes their last breath. It'd be like, it can't be. COVID's not real.
To the bitter end. To the bitter end.
Yeah. Like, you know, and Tobin, I'm sure we can reach a mutual agreement. You can send your anti-vaxxers and anti-maskers into the prairies as well. You know, because they're all got the same intelligence matter as well as the Canadian counterparts.
So
Yeah,
Kendra's the
yesterday-
only person at work who's vaccinated, huh?
Yeah.
I mean, wow.
I would bet on that. I would bet on that. Seriously, I'd put money on it.
Wow.
Yesterday I was out in the suburbs in a more conservative part of the area. I just went by a restaurant, that packed restaurant, line up at the door. I was like, what the heck is happening? Just how could there be a packed restaurant right now with people lining up at the door?
And no masks, I'm guessing.
No masks at all. Nope, not at all.
Because don't you know it's post-pandemic?
The
I went grocery
staff, customers, no masks. I didn't see any masks at all anywhere in that restaurant. When I went.
Seriously, I was telling Kendra, when we first got into the lockdown, I was like, I wish it to be true that we go through all this and we stick it out long enough for it to actually work and not go right back into everything, and then everything's in vain. Like, that it be very disappointing.
in Canada. We dropped them. Well, in British Columbia, we dropped the mask mandate on, I think it was July 1st. And I went to the grocery store last night, the big superstore that's down the street from me here. And there was maybe 10 people in the entire store not wearing masks. And people were like, they'd see them and they'd, zig far around them or go down a different aisle. They were being treated like pariah, which was great. But every single employee in the store was still wearing a mask, still using sanitizer, still being very polite about the whole thing. And the people who were wearing masks it was almost like when you're on a motorcycle and you drive by another guy on a motorcycle, you give him the little hand wave or the little nod. And it was kind of that knowing look at somebody else who's wearing a mask. Yeah, we got this.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it makes an interesting point that while we have 9% vaccinated, if you walk down the street, not a soul, even, and this isn't like, I'm not joking, even the homeless are wearing a mask.
Yeah.
Everybody's happy to wear the mask and everyone's taking it serious. But everyone has the issue with the vaccine.
Yeah.
And that's we need to try and drop that stigma somehow, because the statistics aren't there. What's being reported is just lies. The deaths that are being reported aren't aren't vaccine related. When you look into these stories, these people had pre-existing conditions before the COVID, but they're still being reported as, they had the vaccine and then they died.
Sam, I got to give you 5 points just for being able to continue your intelligent conversation. Your line of thought while Dave is obviously trying to distract you.
Whatever. Don't make me
Well,
double.
in our line of work, Andy, you have to be able to put the face on.
Oh yeah.
No matter what's happening.
You know what? I have to tell you something. I was telling my girlfriend the other day. It's like, when I think I'm in danger, when I take the stance, the I'm in potential danger stance, and it's a very clear stance. It's like, that's when I think that this is going to be shit happening. Oh, Dave, look at you. It's just going to get you with his teeth.
Yeah. Honestly, like, I was on a call in on one of the AM stations. They were asking like why they think that people aren't getting vaccinated, whether it's accessibility, and some are, is accessibility, but I said. And basically most of the people said it is that people don't want to get it. And I've said, because of the industry I'm in, I have a responsibility. Like, I'm not trying to act like high almighty that I'm that important, but I have a responsibility to the people I'm serving. I could be serving an old lady that maybe can't get the vaccine, or I'm serving a kid that's immune compromised. Yeah. I'm I'm not a doctor, I'm not a thing, but I'm what you call a frontline worker. I work in a restaurant. I work in the front lines, and so I could very easily, if I don't get vaccinated, I could pass it on to that person, and I could kill that person.
Oh yeah.
And the people that are saying it's my rights, I'm going, we have a social contract with each other that we don't actually try to kill each other, actively kill each other. And that's what anti-vaxxers are. They're actively do not care if they kill someone.
It's crazy because like
Rousseau said it, the social contract.
Yeah.
Like
the big L libertarians don't believe in the social contract, though.
They don't. It's self-sovereignty all the way down. Self-sovereignty all the way down.
Yeah. And that's why libertarians never get anywhere in government anyway.
No, that's why there's no such thing as a libertarian country. There's no such thing as a libertarian society. It just wouldn't work. It just can't scale up beyond one person, maybe two people. There's no scalability in it.
Oh, I should tell you. I should tell you there was this this woman, and it was a Trump post on Facebook, and then she goes and I just quickly perused her Facebook page because her comment was Trump 2024, and she goes, I'm a child of God. And me and another guy go, then you're a hypocrite. And she goes, that's just your opinion. And the guy goes, no, that's fact. And then it goes, and she goes, I'm going to block you. And I don't care about your opinion. And he goes, yeah, because you're continuously answering it. And she goes, I'm going to block you. And I'm going to block you. And I go, and my last comment was, I think before she blocked me, I go, if you block me, Satan wins. And I think, and you know, and honestly, like besides that, whenever there's a religious quote and it's like obviously hypocritical as hell, which you know, like most of us think religion is hypocritical, I always go, "Hail Satan" with the devil horns, devil horn emojis, every single one, just because I think it's kind of fucking hilarious.
Fair enough.
Yeah. Yeah. So you know that's.
Well, yeah. What I like to bring up is when someone's going to block me, or they tell me they're going to block me. It's like, I'm going to tell you what I told my dad when he was hitting me. Just because you're doing it doesn't mean I'm wrong.
Yeah.
I had a conversation with an anti-vaxxer the other day whose primary motivation for not getting vaccinated was the RFID chip that they were inserting into everyone. Oh, and I said, they've injected millions of people with the vaccine. Yes. And that none of them have a detectable chip or a lump or anything in their arm. There's nothing there. You can scan it. You can ultrasound it. You can go to the veterinary clinic and they have an RFID scanner for the pets and you can get them to test. I'm like, that's not true, right?
And the thing is, why would they put a chip in if there is indeed a chip in this special vaccine? Couldn't they have just put it in every other vaccine or some other method like sweet tea or pies? I mean,
I just don't think it's necessary. I mean, we already carry cell phones around. We sit in front of computers like a huge percentage of our days. Like we're surrounded by this technology. We don't need an RFID chip put in us. Yeah. We're already watched and tracked, and everything we do is now online. It's computerized.
But seriously, like these people must feel they're really important, that that all these companies would want to follow them. Like, what are they doing that makes them want to be? Are they the secret cabal of Satanists that are running the government that everyone's that all the right wingers claiming? Oh, that's it. I figured it out. I've nailed it.
The best thing to mess with the people who are afraid of being tracked by the government is when they say, like, I'm not going to let them do it to me. I'm not going to let them take advantage of me. I'm an independent person. I'm going to be and you say to them, you sleep, right?
Yeah.
They can get you in your sleep.
Well, sometimes I will sometimes I'll just take the issue directly in the fact that, people who feel powerless, the only thing that they have control over is their own bodies. So that's why you have people who become anorexic or people who have these kind of food related disorders. We've talked about it before, but I bring that up. And so this vaccine hesitancy, this fantasy about not taking it has more to do about agency and more about feeling control, the powerless having control. That argument
that's what
doesn't.
self-harm is about.
That is what well, this is exactly it. This is a version of self-harm. It's just like, the person who is cutting themselves in terms of having control over their lives. That's self-harm, obviously, and not getting the vaccine is another facet of that.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing is, you basically hope that you can get enough people to, get it that that you can have the herd immunity. And I think someone was saying it's 85, is it 75 or 85%? It depends where you are, or depends who you believe. We're right now, I think I was saying 69% fully vaccinated. I mean, first vaccination in Canada. So we're getting there, but unfortunately, there's enough people that are going to refuse to get it that I don't know, for whatever reason. And I'm not all going to put them in the COVIDiots thing, but there's there's enough not getting it that we're never going to go back to the pre-pandemic normal. There's going to be a new normal for the rest of our lives, I suspect. And I honestly, like right now, what's the new normal? So we have to wear a mask when we go to a store. We might have to get a booster shot every year. Big freaking deal. Like, honestly,
wash your hands and use hand sanitizer. Like, that's not a bad thing.
Yeah. And
we're dragging you way past the hour.
I am actually gonna. I'm sorry, Dave, but you're right. But people should be washing their hands, and cursory, any stay in a men's room for more than 5 minutes will show that hand washing. It's not a skill a lot of guys have. To tell you the truth.
Yeah.
On that happy note, I'm gonna have to close out the show because I gotta go to work.
Yeah. All right. Well, I'll see you guys tomorrow.
Have
a great day.
And thanks to all the people who joined us in chat. Gary and the girlfriend, always great to see the girlfriend.
And the Divine Sorcerer.
Yeah. And D.
And D, of course. Yeah. All right. Take care, everyone.
Later.